Hello everybody, Logan Phillips here, your state representative of District 24, which has now changed dramatically. It is Mounds, Oklahoma, Bixby, Oklahoma, Glenpool, Oklahoma, Winchester, Oklahoma, and that northern Okmulgee County. So this is a substantial change from our old district, which was Okfuskee, Okmulgee, and Hughes County, running from Beggs, Oklahoma, all the way down to Holdenville, Peyton to Preston. The new district is now a suburban urban district, and so I am here in this video to introduce myself, let the new district know who I am, what my political agenda is, what my background, what I've worked on in the past, what I'm currently working on and will be working on in the future, and then open it up to discussion to let you guys have access to me so that your voice is being heard, you have access to me as a representative so that I am representing you in the best possible manner. Because I fully believe the only way to be good at this job is to make sure that your voice is the one that I am repeating at the Capitol. So guys, I'm going to jump on in. You can join me in a variety of different ways. This has been live streamed to Facebook, to YouTube. This is, you can send me a text on my cell phone at 918-849-1512. Of course, with these introductory, very first ones of doing this, sometimes participation is extremely low. So don't worry too bad about it. If you weren't able to join this, this is recorded so that I will be able to just share it out, get access to you, and the next one we will change the date, the time, so that we can get a different group of people. So today's was at 4 o'clock p.m., which I tried to get that to where so people that work that 8 to 3 time frame can get home, or if you're just at the end of your day, you might be able to stay at work for that little hour and get online, or people that work from home just have time between their kids getting home and starting that dinner. So typically this 4 o'clock has been pretty good, but if it's not, we will switch it to later in the night. We will do it earlier in the morning. But how this happens and what this will work is during session on Mondays and Fridays, you're going to see recorded videos and live presentations from me to where you can ask questions. On top of that, I am also out in the district. If you ever see a big guy in a gray shirt and a big gray jacked up Jeep, it's just me. I'm here for you and I want to hear from you. So just stop me, grab me, talk to me. That is why I'm driving around the district. That is why I'm engaging with you, is so I can hear your voice. So don't ever think you're bothering me. If you see me out and about, I don't care if I got a donut shoved in my mouth or drinking a Dr. Pepper or just having a really bad day. If you stop and talk to me, it will lighten my day up. I'll be in a better mood. So make sure you stop and you get access to me, because that is why I am here, to be your representative. Now for this video, we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about my background, my histories. We're going to talk about my political agenda, the bills that I have authored, the bills that I've co-authored, and where I see the state going forward, how I can be of best help. Now this is a video, just the introduction. So you can ask questions, get questions answered, and just know who I am to see if I am the right representative for you. Know that I am an open book. I am terrible at being a politician when it comes to trying to hold my tongue and protect myself. So if you have a question, the teacher in me says that I will answer it as truthfully as I possibly can. So my background's pretty varied. When I turned 17, I joined the United States Army. I was in the U.S. Army for 6 years. I served as an infantryman with Operation Noble Eagle 3. I was activated a few different times. Unfortunately, I am not a combat veteran. I did not serve overseas. You have to excuse me, new chair. My back is a little painful. I volunteered for Iraq, Afghanistan, and Egypt. I got sent to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Fort Hood, Texas, Oklahoma, and to a base up in North Dakota. So my military service, I wound up training a tremendous amount of soldiers that went and served. Many of them died over there. Many of them made it back and had unfortunate, unseen, and non-visible side effects. So most of the men and women that I served with simply aren't around anymore, which is a horrible thing, which has led me to a life of service and trying to help with those mental health issues. But I served for 6 years, U.S. Infantry. I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, home of the infantry. After there, I was cross-trained as a signal support system specialist, which means I encrypted, decrypted satellite dishes. I ran infrastructure lines. I ran internet lines. If it had an electric current that ran through that thing, it fell into my domain. I ran the TOC. Everything technology became mine within my battalion, my platoon, and I trained all the other soldiers below me to make sure that they were operating the radios, the satellites, everything that was technology related below them. Of course, it was a very different time frame back then. I was also cross-trained as a sapper with the 45th Infantry Division. I was stationed as a sapper, which is a combat engineer. So I got trained how to blow stuff up and build bridges and then blow those bridges up. So on any given day, I could blow up a bridge, build a bridge, call on a radio to blow up a bridge or build build a bridge, or I can straight leg grunt it and shoot with the best of them, at least in my mind, the best of them. So started off in my early life, I was a veteran. I was honorably discharged after 6 years of service. I was able to transfer with the Green to Gold program into the Oklahoma State University, where I got my first degree in business and information technology and education. After that, I became a teacher. And I have been a teacher for about 17 years now. Now, I served in the military. I joined before 9/11. I served all the way through 9/11, through the initial phases of deployments, and I got my degrees at the same time. So my business information and technology education degree from Oklahoma State University was my undergraduate, where I was interested in teaching people how to work. I wanted to create vocational workers, build a workforce for an emerging industry. And you're going to find that's a common theme throughout my life. So I taught at Meridian Technology Center there in Stillwater under Carol Dvorak, which was a massive, massive win for me. She was a fantastic master teacher, a lifetime mentor, and I cannot speak highly enough of Carol and Dvorak and Meridian Technology Center. It's a great place. But I learned how to teach there in the vocational education systems. After that, I wound up going to Taiwan. I decided after my military service was done, I got my degree, that I was going to travel the world, and I wound up teaching mathematics in Taiwan for several years. And I taught in a bilingual program. Excuse me, it's the end of the day, so of course I'm losing my voice. Taught in a bilingual program where my students learn both in English and in Chinese. And my lesson was taught in English by me. Then I had a teaching assistant. Then we would switch the classroom, and my teaching assistant would become the teacher, and I would become the teaching assistant, and we would reteach the lesson again with her teaching in Chinese and me tutoring them in English. So it was a bizarre environment, but the students learned dramatically. So that set my ideas of how to learn, how to teach, and a bigger, widely environment for that. And I've taught in middle school, I've taught in elementary school, I've taught in high school, I've taught in vocational. For 6 years, I taught at the Tulsa Boys Home, which is, again, a massively fantastic and successful program there in the Sand Springs, taking those justice-involved young men and those DHS custody students and giving them a chance at a better life. And there, we wound up finding out that we hadn't graduated a kid in like 10 years when I started working at the Tulsa Boys Home. So I created the very first virtual education program, became a virtual education specialist, got training and degrees, got a master's degree in virtual education, teaching, learning, and leadership, and focused on virtual education, built virtual ed programs that then got handed off to other school systems. And so I got very interested in creating curriculum and pedagogy and learning how to learn and teaching teachers how to teach and building those systems that have never existed before, looking at those innovative industries and building out for the future. And we went from graduating 0 students in 10 years to graduating about 10 to 15 a semester with my credit recovery programs. Adored every single minute of it, but one day a greater opportunity came out and I got invited to become a college professor. And so I am now currently a professor of technology. I teach IT and business at Tulsa Community College at the North Campus. I've worked with the National Science Foundation. I've worked with hydroponics and aquaponics systems. We've worked with students to get career tech credit recovery. We've worked with students to get vocational skills trainings, with IT trainings, create new education programs, new curriculum and degree paths. We worked with veterans to make sure that they were in and engaged. So we've worked with adults from fresh out of high school, 18-year-olds, to my oldest student was 86 years old and decided she wanted to become an IT specialist. And she did. It was fantastic. So there's not a realm of education that I have not taught. Elementary, middle school, high school, vocational, justice involved, college, career. I'm there. I love education as my passion, but of course outside of education, because you don't get paid a tremendous amount, I do have other jobs and other careers as well. So outside of being a professor of IT at Tulsa Community College, I also run a nonprofit whose focus, and I have been doing this for about 12 years, is building education systems and initial infrastructure in developing countries. So our last project before the big pandemic hit, we were able to go to Uganda and help prop up an education system there. And we have typically filled in the gaps where bigger nonprofits have forgotten. We also are now, because of the pandemic, because of that environment, starting to dabble into emergency management and emergency management relief to help when those big events happen, that we can get in and prop up new systems, make sure that people are taken care of, work with all the different types of volunteers and government entities, and bring support where it's needed. This really got started off because that Louisiana hurricane, the last one that happened, we were able to go down there, work with the Bayou Navy, or I forget their name, the New Orleans Navy, which is a volunteer organization to help the people that were devastated by that hurricane. And of course, during that big freeze of last year, after working with the National Guard, bringing water buffaloes, working with people to make sure their houses are electrified, getting wood, water bottles, water buffaloes, fixing water pipes with all the municipalities, we got very, very interested in nonprofit emergency management. And I own a farm. I raise cattle. I'm a Hereford farmer as well, or Hereford rancher, and then I raise poultry, chickens, and heritage breed turkeys. So we just did a wonderful big giant butcher using 3F processing, one of the only bird poultry processors in the state, to do Thanksgiving and bring big giant delicious turkeys to a large swath of people, including myself. I ate my absolute fill of them. So farmer, rancher, teacher, professor, veteran, I span the gambit. So I've done business, I've taught business, I have ran businesses, I have ran nonprofits, I have worked in the education field, I've worked overseas. I like to dabble in a lot of things, and now I am a state representative, and I have been one for the last 3 years, going into my 4th year. And as your state representative, I am the chairman of technology, which is a new chairmanship that I was able to create with the help of the Speaker of the House last year to focus on those innovative industries and growing a new economy in Oklahoma. I am the chairman of the Rural Broadband Expansion Council to help shrink that digital divide and bring that initial infrastructure out to the entire state. And I am the chairman of Infrastructure and Broadband, serving in these roles with Senator Lee Wright from my Senate counterpart, where we are looking at fixing roads, bridges, water systems, waterways, railways. If it fits into infrastructure, it's going to fit into my wheelhouse. I absolutely love building systems and fixing, repairing, and making those systems work for future generations. And of course, looking at those innovative technologies, how we can bring them. So I am covering the gamut of a lot of different little pieces, but I have about 3 or 4 different degrees. I have a bachelor's degree in business information. I'm an associate's degree in business. I have a master's of teaching, learning, and leadership with a focus on virtual education programs. And I have a master's in curriculum and technology and pedagogical design, teaching teachers how to teach. So to say my background's education, business, and IT is probably the easiest way to say that. Now, for the last 3 years, I have not been sitting at the Capitol idle. I don't like getting into an environment and being unsuccessful, so I came in as a state representative, unlike probably anyone in the history that we can find. I raised no money, I spent no money, and I was still elected by the people, for the people, so I was indebted to nobody. I had nobody controlling me, so I was able to come in and focus solely on the needs of the people I represented, which was incredibly freeing. And I'm not speaking ill of any other representative. Money, unfortunately, is the name of this game, and a lot of people have to raise a lot of money to get into these positions and try to beat and win those races, but it gave me a unique perspective. I ousted or won against a incumbent that was a 10-year incumbent. He was a good rep, a good guy. I liked Mr. Copeland quite a bit, but he was not the right representative for bringing in our district to the future. And I still think that's true, that I am the best representative if we want to look at how we develop an industry and an economy for not just this generation, but future-proof for your children, for your grandchildren, for your great-grandchildren. How Oklahoma can become a central hub and the central distribution center of the entire nation, taking in all those innovative economies, putting them into one place, and growing them out exponentially. We're on the verge of so many great things, and I really think Oklahoma can be the heart and belt buckle of all of them. So over the last 3 years, I have authored and co-authored and supported a variety of pieces, but my biggest driving force is, of course, that pursuit of happiness, protecting one's rights, and making sure we do no harm. So that I vote against a lot of bills that they have good intentions, but bad side effects. I vote against bills that are Republican. I vote against bills that are Democrat. And I vote for bills that build up systems protect systems, and help individual people. And that includes business owners. I am extremely pro-business and bringing in those industries. Now, I have passed bills and worked on things from small as giving rights to caregivers from individual people's request, constituent request. We had a young man that his mother was elderly and could only be at the hospital certain hours. He needed around-the-clock setting and care, so we were able to change the law to allow for multiple caregivers to one person, allowing that in the hospital systems. I have worked to improve the state parks, give them extra funding so we can prop those up, make those beautiful so the lieutenant governor can go and extremely increase our tourism dollars. I have worked on creating transparency both in our billing cycles for our hospitals and the transparency for our online school systems, working with Sheila Dills and with TJ Marty with the pharmacies. We worked on patients' right to choose the pharmacy with TJ Marty, a representative. One of my biggest pieces was the Right to Repair Act. I'm still in progress. I've written it every year. I'm going to get it through one way, and that is protecting your individual consumer rights and rights to ownership. Saying that when you buy one of these fancy dandy devices or these computer systems, that you have the expectation of ownership. So I have fought every time against big business. I have fought against corporations. I have fought against governments to make sure that your individual rights, your individual consumer rights and personal rights are there and are protected. And we get bills all the time that have a great headline, great title that makes it seem like someone is fighting for your right, and they're not. It's something that actually erodes it. I read every bill. I do not vote on something that I have not read. So if I go in there and I vote something, I can tell you exactly why I voted against it, and it may not always be the right choice. Sometimes I have made mistakes, but I have always tried to be transparent in that. Now, we have worked on all kinds of stuff outside of that. We've done digital privacy. I've read about 7 different bills on digital privacy, and we have several coming this year that's going to be huge. Protecting your data online from being sold, giving you the right to deletion, the right to consent, informed consent for online data privacy, protecting kids' data and children's data and students' data from both government and corporations. So we've done a lot of fight for digital privacy. We've been working to make governments more transparent. I fought for the right of public forums, both online and in person. I worked with Representative Daniel Pay to protect Native American women and children that were being abducted and taken to that human trafficking. In fact, I've worked with Marshila Pryor, down the GOP chairman, to try to fix the issues of human trafficking here in Oklahoma, opening up more resources to help those victims of that. We've worked on bringing tax rebates so we can get doctors into rural areas, knowing that one of our biggest things we're facing is a lack of access to medical care. Even in Glenpool, we have a great hospitals popped up, but it's not a full hospital. It's only a small one. How do we expand that? So we've been working on hospitals. We've been working on bringing mental health to veterans, fighting so they can go to the public hospitals instead of just the VAs. We've done protections of freedom of religion and freedom of speech. I ran a bill to try to stop telemarketers from calling you all the dadgum time, to stop surprise billing from your hospital systems. We gave a raise to our retirees, a cost of living increase that hadn't happened in like 15 years, which was huge win. Worked with and co-authored bills to cap the cost of insulin, help create farmers markets, and bring IT jobs in. Now, these are all pieces I've either co-authored or authored and worked with, but probably my biggest thing that I've worked with and had tremendous success with is the connectivity issue. When I came into the state of Oklahoma in 2018 as a state representative, I was living on a farm that for the first time I realized that we have no internet. I moved out to my farm to raise cattle and realized I cannot teach my classes. I cannot run my business. I cannot run my nonprofit. I cannot connect with friends. I cannot get a doctor. I cannot get anything. And it all is because I'm getting shoehorned with terrible access to internet. So I started going to the communities and talking and realized that in many parts of my district, you can't run a card reader in your business because there's no internet connectivity, so it's cash only. Students, there's 342,000 students in the state of Oklahoma. When they go home at night, no internet, which means no homework, no lectures, no resources. And we have all these seniors that are stuck in small communities that can't access a doctor, can't get online and do telehealth. And we have a massive increase of mental health problems. And so there's no access to psychiatrists and psychologists, counselors of any type, because no cell phone coverage, no internet coverage. You can't access anything outside of our small town. So we started looking at this as what is the biggest economic driver in the state of Oklahoma? And it wound up being connectivity. And we created in 2019 the RBEC Commission. With the help of the Speaker of the House, we were able to formulate the RBEC, which is the Rural Broadband Expansion Council, building out a group of people from all aspects of internet connectivity, and said, you need to sit at this table, come up with a plan on how the state builds and expands broadband connection. And they did. It was fantastic. We had buy-in. We still have buy-in. They are still working. I'm smart enough to know that I'm dumb in a lot of areas, so I surround myself with more brilliant people and just do what they say. So we brought them in, and I said, tell me how to fix this issue. Tell me how to get connectivity to my rural communities. Tell me how to get connectivity to North Oklahoma or North Tulsa where there's no connection, or Eastern Oklahoma City where there's no connection. Tell me how to get these people online so we can build businesses, do telehealth, do telework. Tell me. And we started changing state statutes. We started running new bills. We created a $47 million tax rebate to bring out fiber line connections to the homes. And we have gone from 47th in the nation in connectivity since we started this process to 24th. We are seeing expanding connection everywhere. We have places and businesses and companies that had said, we will never expand to the rural area, that are now viably looking and saying, well, if there's internet there, we can get there. And so it's fantastic. We are going to see increases of population, increases of economic activity, increase of wealth and generational change because of the work that the RBEC Commission is doing through the help of the state of Oklahoma. And then we had the ARPA funds come in, and I serve as the ARPA chairman of infrastructure and broadband. And so we're looking at how to build that even bigger, faster, and get those connections out. So we are working hard on that. That is a continued process. It's going to take several more years. But my goal for the state of Oklahoma is to have connection of high-speed internet to every single home in the state so that we can become the heartland of broadband connection. But then we started looking at what does that actually entail? If we want to build out broadband to every home, what do I need the state to look like? And I realized that we are going to face shortages of raw materials. We're going to face shortages of workforce. So how do I build a place where I can bring in people, train people, and get materials I need to build broadband? So I've started work on the Southeast Asia Economic Trade Office, touring places like California, the port of Catoosa, and going down to Ardmore, heading to Houston to their port to create multimodal facilities and interconnect some of our most amazing but way underutilizes resources here in Oklahoma. How do we become a central hub? Because if you look at a map, we are equidistant to every major market in the entire nation. We have the furthest inland seaport in the nation. We have railway systems that are phenomenal. We have roadway systems that can support big trucks, unmanned vehicles, aerial vehicles. We have the ability in the airspace to create drone delivery packages. We have everything we need to create a brand new economy based on innovative future technologies. So how do we bring all those pieces together? And so we're working on propping up the Port of Catoosa, propping up the Ardmore facilities, bringing in foreign investment and foreign companies that want to manufacture those IT materials here in Oklahoma, creating those trade partnerships, creating those international partnerships, and bringing in companies from out of state. California right now is hemorrhaging IT companies. They are looking for places to go build their headquarters, build their manufacturing, and Oklahoma is a viable option if we have connectivity. We take all of those pieces, we pair that together with our career tech and our community colleges. We can create workers, we can educate our citizens, we can create high-paying, high-value, high-benefit jobs that are future-proof. Our state for the past has always been very reactive. It's a statement of most governments, but for the first time in history, I believe that Oklahoma is now focused on looking to the future. How do we do this 5 years from now? How do we build out 10 years from now? What does it look like if we're looking forward in life? And so that's what we're working on now. Building those trade partnerships, building out our resources, interconnecting and becoming a central hub for the entire United States to bring in jobs, materials, and innovation. Now, that is really where I see Oklahoma going. I see us being the central hub for tech. I see us being the central hub for technologies we don't even know exist yet. If we're looking at blockchain, if we're looking at privacy rights, if we're looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, those type of things, if we're looking at drones, if we're looking at delivery systems, unmanned vehicles, all of that Oklahoma is primed for. So how do we build out those industries, bring in those companies, create anchor points, and expand out so that we are the new Silicon Valley? That we take that $35 billion in tax revenue that Silicon Valley gets, bring it here so that we can prop up all of our other systems. Oklahoma is ready for it, and I think we're capable of doing it. Guys, I've shared with you who I am. I've shared with you what I've done in the past, what I'm working on right now, and where I see us going. The reality is, if you want to ask questions, I am here for you. If you see a big guy out in the district in a gray shirt and a big gray Jeep, it's just me. I'm here for you, and I want to hear from you. We're going to be going head first into this next session. You can expect introductory videos at the very beginning of the week. You can expect videos at the end of the week. You can expect me at legislative forums, coffee shops. If you have a group that wants me to come and speak and sit down, or if you want me to have a group that wants me to come and sit in the middle while you yell profanities at me, I'll do either one of them. I don't care. Wherever you're at, I will be at so that I am connected. I hear your voice and we grow our facilities how we need to grow for our new area. Now, I am a new representative for Glenpool, Bixby, and Mounds, but the reality is my family's been in Glenpool, Bixby area for the last 150 years. I grew up in West Tulsa. I'm a teacher at Tulsa Community College. Your students are my students. I'm a farmer that feeds the people in those areas. I have been here the entire time. The only difference is it's a new set of voice and a really engaged population. So yesterday I was in Glenpool, met with the wonderful mayor and the city manager and the vice city manager, heard all about the issues and problems and the growth opportunities and the amazing things they're working on. I was able to meet with the Glenpool Chamber of Commerce yesterday and sit down with their lunch. Congratulations to a classmate of mine that I randomly saw there for winning Teacher of the Month, Jennifer. It was nice to see you after 22 years. Today we were up in Bixby area. We met with the president of the PLAC, the president of the Chamber of Commerce. We met with our superintendent up in Bixby, as well as we stopped in at the Bixby Telephone Company. And of course, we've been in Mounds. I met with the sheriff, went over to their facilities, met with the GOP chairman, and drank as many coffees as I could at their coffee shop. You're going to be seeing me everywhere, and I'm popping up non-stop. I am extremely engaged. I want to hear from you. I am going to force you to speak to me if I have to kick you, or drag you kicking and screaming. The reality is I am your rep, and I want to stay your rep, and to do that job, to be effective at it, I have to have your voice. So guys, I am Logan Phillips. I'm the state rep for District 24, which is now Mounds, Bixby, Glenpool, Winchester, and northern Okmulgee County. If you're north of Highway 16, I'm your guy. If you need me, you reach out. You can call me or text me, 918-849-1512. You can send me an email at logan.phillips@okhouse.gov. Send me a Facebook message, send me a tweet, send me a chat, Snapchat, tag me on whatever facility. I don't care. Wherever you're at, if you send me a letter, I will respond with you and write you a letter back. However you want to engage, I will be there. I will be engaged, and I will be hearing your voice. Guys, I hope you have a very fruitful day. If you need me, let me know. I'm Logan Phillips, your state representative, and I hope you have a very good day. Bye, guys.